Alright, so I'm assuming if you guys are watching this, you guys liked the Tales from the Hood, the first one. So I will continue this series for y'all. So, like I said, my mom, well, I don't think I said, she had a rough childhood. Not the best. She was the oldest out of 7 sisters. So, you know, like I said, my family, you know, we're, you know, Hispanic, and some of you might know or maybe understand that, you know, most traditional Hispanic families, you know, like you go to church a lot, you live at home for a long time, till you're married, and you know, things like that. And that's not with my family. My mom was the oldest out of 7, and they were all wild. I had 2 uncles and 5 aunts, so you know, they were like the opposite of a traditional Mexican family. I mean, my aunts, they would go and party and get buck wild, and like it was crazy. Like it was a frat house or sorority. In that last vlog, when I was staring to the left over here, it brought me back to, you know, like I said, I'm the oldest out of 22 cousins, and I got a phone call when I was about 19, and my cousin, who, you know, I'd grown up with, we're only a year or 2 apart. We're super close. We did everything together. I mean, we walked this entire valley. We got into some shit. We got pulled over. Well, we stole my aunt's car. Got pulled over by cops. They let us go, and we had a porn star, you know, drive our car. I'll explain that story later. But I was 19, and he called me and my best friend to this house, is where he lived. Which these people haven't taken care of this house. This house didn't look anything like this. House was probably one of the nicest houses. And he handed me a bag and a pipe. It was crystal meth. You know, we had kind of seen some changes in my cousin. Like, we would hang out every day in this garage. Get my haircuts here. We would come in here for hours on weekends, just chill here, do nothing, and just hang with our boys. But he handed me a bag of meth and a crack pipe, and right here is where I put it on the ground and stepped on it and smashed it. And that was, you know, that was almost 15 years ago. And that was a hard time for me to realize, like, he was like my brother. He was the closest thing to me, as far as I don't think he knew. Maybe I should have told him how much he really meant to me. He, besides one of my aunts, you know, all my aunts were awesome, but my one aunt, she took care of me a lot. She was the youngest out of all the sisters, and she took care of me a lot when my mom wasn't there or when my mom was there. And, you know, I felt a lot of love from her, and I felt closest to her. But my cousin Rich, we were so tight. Like, he meant a lot to me. He still does. And he still struggles here and there. I miss that bond. It's, you know, it's hard to explain unless you guys have it with somebody, a cousin, your best friend, a brother. You know, it's one of those things where it's just hard to explain, you guys. But once that happened, that drug's a powerful drug. It got a hold of him, and I don't know. It was something that was really hard to deal with. A lot of things changed after that, and it was just tough. I don't know. I love my cousin. I love him a lot. I love him to this day. I miss him. Like I said, he's still around. You know, we're just, you know, we've grown up, and you know, we have our own lives. But there's no doubt in my mind, if I ever needed him, I could call on him. If he needed me, he can call me, and we've done that still to this day. But I love him a lot. I still do. I wish things were different, though. I had fun here. We lived here for a couple of months. You know, when I was younger, my mom, you know, a lot of what I do, or the way I am, is because my mom is. I get some of her traits or personality as far as work ethic and whatnot. But like I said, my mom, when we were younger, or I was younger, her and my dad separated. So, you know, she took care of me. I lived with my mom most of the time, and my mom back then, she had a job even though she was still doing drugs. And you know, this is during the 80s. Like, coke was huge back in the 80s. There's another spot I used to live right around here. Gotta be careful over here. Yeah, I used to live in here. Oh my God, I can't believe this. Like, I used to live here. Oh, we didn't have heaters sometimes, so we would sleep on the kitchen floor, or I would sleep on the kitchen floor and turn the oven on just to stay warm sometimes. So like I said, my mom was, go check it down here. Uh-oh. Smell some funny stuff. So my mom worked, you know, she got a job pretty young. I lived with her for a long time. It's hard to remember. Well, I lived with her up until I was 14. Did you guys get a look? I lived with my mom up until I was 14. But meanwhile, my mom worked. She had a great job. She worked in the banking industry. Banking was like big in the 80s. So the good thing about my mom was she was very independent, and you know, I lived with her and we moved around a lot, but she definitely worked hard. You know, my childhood, you know, I thought it was normal. Like, come the weekend after school and stuff, we'd look forward to getting ready with my mom, and we would go to house parties. Believe it or not, yeah, I was like in the first grade, second grade, we would go to house parties. And I thought this is what every kid did. And for me, it was awesome. They filmed Boys in the Hood. No, not Boys in the Hood. Don't Be a Menace. One of those gangster movies right there where the guy gets shot, they run up on him. I thought it was normal to go to house parties. And the reason why I loved it was because every time I go to these houses, they would give me Pepsi, Doritos, and the movie The Terminator was big. So the truth, anytime I see those three things, it automatically takes me back to when I was a kid. I thought that was normal. It's weird, right? As a kid, that's what I thought. I was like, hey, this is what we do. This is normal. So I would get Doritos, Pepsis, and you know, all kinds of different movies. You know, it wasn't just Terminator, but I remember the Terminator as a kid. And we would go from house to house, and you know, they would take care of me. They're like, you know, and half of these houses we went to, they were police officers. I remember because they would give me their aviators, their cop glasses that hooked around. And where we're at right now, this is the mall, the San Fernando Mall, by the way. It's an outdoor mall. It's Sunday, so it's not too crowded. Maybe earlier it would have been a lot crowded, much more crowded. So I thought that was normal. We would go to these houses, they would give me all that shit as long as I didn't bother them. I would watch the movies, drink soda, eat chips and candy, and a lot of them were cops. And I remember one of my mom's best friends, she was her husband was a cop. He was a motorcycle cop. I remember that, and he was really cool. But it was just weird, you know. I didn't understand at that time when I would go. I remember two things that I was like, whoa, I was confused. I walked upstairs and I saw this white powder stuff and a bunch of money rolled up, and as a kid, you don't understand it. You're just like, oh, cool, whatever, you know, like you don't know what that is. So that is something I remember to this day. I remember walking up these stairs and seeing that, and they're like, oh, go downstairs, you know, like they would try to get me out of there. And the other thing, I was in the bathroom one night, I don't know, and I don't know if any of you guys have heard what gunshots sound like, but I heard these two cracks. It sounded like cracks. Like movies, they make it obviously for the effects, but I heard these two cracks really loud, and then the door comes flying, this bathroom door comes flying into me. And you know, I'm little, and I remember getting blown back, and I couldn't move it. It was like just dead weight was on top of me. And you hear this yelling. I hear another door slam, and all of a sudden I hear my mom screaming for me. She pulled me. I remember I was laying down, this door was on top of me and my arm was out, and I remember seeing her hand grabbing my arm and pulling me. And it was like the biggest weight off my shoulders, even though it's on my, you know, I'm on my back and it's on my face. And oh, this is the San Fernando courthouse. I've actually been here. Yeah, I've been to jail, guys. Nothing crazy, nothing, you know, what you guys would think, but I have been to jail. Anyways, so my mom pulls me, gets me up, and I don't remember anything after that. I can't remember for the life of me. I can't remember anything after that. I don't. It's one of the weird. It's hard to explain to you guys. Like, and I would never lie to you guys about any of this shit. If you want, I will fucking go to my mom, and I'll fucking talk to her in front of you guys, and I'll record that shit. I don't remember what happened, so I kept asking her, what happened? That's what I remember. I said, what happened? What happened? What happened? And I just remember being wet, and that was from the guy's blood. Now that I, you know, now that I think about it, you know. And I don't know what happened this day. I still asked my mom, and she just like, nothing happened, nothing. You were, it's just someone got in a fight, or it was something stupid she tried to make up. So, at nighttime, oh, that 7-Eleven was no good for me. At nighttime, anytime I get off ramps now, it takes me back to my childhood, because I automatically go back to my childhood. It's so weird. It's hard to explain. You know, there's those certain things that trigger your childhood, and that's another thing. Anytime at night I get off an off-ramp, it just takes me back, because I remember I knew we were almost home or going to another house from going out and partying with my mom at night. It's time for me to sign out. And if you guys want another one, I have more. Have a good day. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Peace.